It's the 10th of January, 2025. Coming up on today's Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. As fires rage in California set by the Trump operatives, they try to plan another disaster in today's meetings because no money came and they don't know what's wrong. And the clock is ticking, only 10 days left until a convicted felon takes the office of U.S. President. Right now, this administration looks like the captain of the Titanic. Well, it's the 10th of January, and it's been an interesting week, to say the least. We had the quote-unquote Carter funeral that seemed to go off okay. I know everybody was on alert, and it didn't quite, what they wanted to do didn't quite happen. There has been some interesting meetings, though, we've been listening to this morning and this afternoon. This had mainly to do with the fires in California. As you know, there's been a lot of aid promised from the quote-unquote federal government. And the Trump operatives who actually set the fire, they said that they weren't sure why the money didn't come. And this was the discussions they were having in this meeting. Now, in the past, and I mean the past, there was a fund that was there for creating disasters and creating harm and pain. And a lot of that fund that they were referring to or thinking that was going to just open wide would have been under the Maywa line or the Lilith ISIS line. And that hasn't existed in a while. And as all of you know, Maywa has been gone for some time. And there was no one to push any button to release any funds except for, me, and that didn't happen. So they were contemplating in this meeting creating another disaster, maybe a 9/11 type event, something bigger, than just fires, where they could declare maybe a national disaster, all over the country, something like, World Trade Towers going down, maybe some other towers they'd like to take out. But there are other people in the meeting that are even saying, can they afford to create another disaster? What they mean by afford it, not just monetarily, how much are the American people going to take? And they've got a very short window to do it in because there's only 10 days left to the inauguration, allegedly, if it does go off on time. And that's not a whole lot of time to plan disasters. Fires are cheap, very expensive in the long run. You have a lot of insurance companies. There was a conversation that happened between Aon Insurance Company and some of our, I think it was Tom, who had the conversation. And they were saying that they're not, they're going broke anyway. Part of the reason why they're going broke has to do with issuing of pools and bonds and those types of things on a larger scale, but paying out millions of dollars to homeowners and landowners and business owners is not going to go real well for these insurance companies. And yeah, there's a lot of talk in the mainstream media about increasing, for example, the cost of insurance policies to homeowners, making homeowners pay more. Maybe they're not able to get homeowners and insurance in different parts of California, but that's not going to really solve the problem. The problem is that they already insured all of these homes and they're going to need to pay, which will happen. Even if insurance companies go bankrupt, just as an FYI to you, something that is not made public and definitely not made public to consumers when you buy insurance is something called a guarantee fund. Now, you might be able to find some information online about it. I am definitely aware of it. And all insurance companies are required to pay in to this guarantee fund. And what the guarantee fund does is, in the event an insurance company goes bankrupt, this fund will then kick in and handle the consumer business. It's kind of like FDIC insurance, but it's not really a federally mandated thing. It's more of an insurance association thing where they all pay into this fund. So, I mean, I'm sure the homeowners will end up getting the insurance payouts eventually. You know, we're 2 disasters in now in the last several months, and this is going to be tough for the insurance industry. And, you know, maybe it's something that needs to change anyway. Maybe we need to change the way we do things. And I look at these things sometimes. I mean, obviously, people, you know, are going to be very stressed out if the insurance doesn't pay on time or takes months to get payment and that type of thing. But there are ways to do things, and everything has its own timing. So we're seeing an entire industry wobbling right now based on poor decisions that were made regarding pooling of life insurance policies, pooling of homeowners insurance policies, and pooling of bonds, and writing what they call an insurance wrap on bonds, and insuring corporations for bonds and corporate bonds and whatnot that were issued. Behind the scenes, as you know, BlackRock actually went bankrupt. Officially, what you saw was a little kerfuffle in Louisiana. Unofficially, they filed bankruptcy and are trying to wipe out a lot of their debt behind the scenes. Now, you know, like I said, this is all steamrolling because people are not going to be able to wait another 6 months. You know, there is talk about certain intelligence agencies looking at for contingency plans, other ways of working. They say by the summer. I don't think it'll last that long. And it's really starting to wobble. That house of cards is starting to fall. And if they create another disaster, is that going to make money come out? No. This is already two down. There isn't a whole lot of things they can do. They're discussing it right now as I'm recording this, of things that they could possibly do that would yield them money. And the problem is that we're down so low in the food chain now. I don't think they really get the fact that there was always someone that pushed the money button. Always. Or would convert those numbers on a screen into actual cash with allocation numbers. No one else is left here but me. So I know that they would love to get me to do something, but that's not possible. That was proven earlier this week when security measures kicked in, and well, local people also kind of declined to work with them too. So I'm not really seeing much coming out of them. But what I am seeing is congratulations, Americans. You now have the first convicted felon as a president. Apparently, as of today, they went ahead and did the conviction. And I still can't get over this part. So they went ahead and convicted him, but there's no consequences, no jail time, no nothing. Just you're a felon now. And for the rest of us, citizens, especially of the United States, I know for a fact you can't work at a bank. You can't even work at the Department of Motor Vehicles with a felony conviction. So I'm not, it's really strange that you can become the president. So if any of you listening to this are convicted felons, this is always a job option for you. You could always run for president for as long as we have a government. So I find that very interesting. You got 10 days now to the inauguration. We'll see if it actually goes down on that day. I say that because they're starting to come to some realizations behind the scenes. I don't know if who knows? Are they going to go through with it? Are they going to fake a death? And say, oh, those were Trump's promises. Fake Trump. They're definitely having these discussions right now. And are they thinking about going in another direction, doing something positive for people? No, not in any way. Are there many countries waiting for this to happen? Yes. Are there some terrorist organizations they agreed to pay waiting for this to happen? Yes. You do have the Houthis in Yemen. You've got a couple of groups in Iraq, I know, that are waiting for payment. You have some interesting Iranian groups that are waiting for payment. Lots and lots of people are waiting for payment right now. And it's almost better to just let it go. Let them go through with the inauguration. And matter of fact, force them to go through with the inauguration and let them deal with their consequences of their big mouth and cowboy talk, I guess. There are some people in the government that are like, well, we might not go through with it. We might, we don't want them in office if they're not going to fulfill their promises to us. I'm actually hearing this from government people, higher level government people here in America. And, well, that was my advice to them. Just let it go through. Just let them get in there, let them deal with their own problems, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens from there. I'm really at this point watching it because it could cause people problems. I'm also watching it from a security standpoint. Are people who receive funds from CARE to do a project going to be able to spend them and live in a way that is comfortable? That's my main concern. For me, I've been kind of stuck here in the Hotel California now for a number of years, and I don't want to see that happen to anybody else. So I do watch this for that reason. I am listening to all the promises in other countries. I am watching the Trump folk pick up plans from the Order of the Dragon, such as a plan I've told you about many times, where the world is divided into somewhere around 7. I was told 7 was the original plan. Different banking sectors, 7 bank for international settlements, 7 currencies, 7 control systems for the entire world. And I've told you about this before. Apparently now that is 10 different divisions. This is something else that they're talking about. And if they can divide it up into 10, there still comes a moment in time where, again, those who held the final key must push the button, even on plans that they created themselves. And I'm not sure if the Trump operatives just feel like they're out of options because they're taking plans that were meant for the other side now. Regardless of that, you still end up with me. There's no more Marduk. There's no more other people. There's only me. So, again, it doesn't look like it's going to happen or go anywhere, but there's going to be a lot of turmoil. And I'm hesitant to say some things right now because, again, these meetings are going on literally as I'm talking to you. So I have information coming in while I'm talking to you. But I would say right now they're kind of almost, I'm hesitant to say, almost at a point where they feel like there really isn't a whole lot of directions they can go in. And they're not sure how to get out of it at this point. That's what it looks like to me. A disaster didn't work. Using somebody else's plans not working. I don't know if they know who they're trying to appease at this point in time. But yet the only thing I do know is that as of at least this morning, nobody was discussing turning in our direction. Meaning, by turning in our direction, I mean actually willing to walk the walk, take a marker, because that's going to be required, and actually do exactly what they say they're going to do. So I'm not really seeing any of that. I'm seeing them still scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to figure out what they can do. The rest of it's kind of up in the air because these things are happening in real time right now. I'll probably have more information for you on those types of things on Monday. Monday is also a full moon. I'm sure they're waiting for something there to happen. I know that on the 15th, they're also waiting for something else to happen, which hasn't happened in years, as far as financial things to come through. And I talk about financial things a lot with these folks because that's pretty much what they're missing. They also are having trouble running normal operations as well. As far as fires and things of that nature are concerned, we have possibly something that you might see coming up over the weekend to try to help with that type of thing, because now it's just a mess over there. And we'll see what we can do there. But as far as these people, it's going to be a hot January. 10 days from now, actually on the 21st is the day everything's supposed to happen. So by the 21st of January through to the end of the month, possibly the beginning of February, you're going to see a lot, and I mean a lot of turmoil. And there's really nothing you can do about the dying animal at this point. There's nothing I can do and nothing I want to do to help the dying animal. But just breathe and just know that if he brings us to it, he's going to bring us through it. As far as on the other side of things, we are still dealing with some remnants that are causing some disturbing frequencies, tones, high-pitched tones, low-pitched tones. This is not something that the deep state is doing. This is something that the other dying animal, the main enemy that we have, is automatically doing. I would say in an AI sort of way, as it tries to regain some kind of control and a foothold here on Earth. That's not happening. We're not having any kind of an invasion situation happen, but there is a lot of attempts for AIs to reinstall themselves here. And of course, dead man switches and those types of things. So, yeah, I would say off and on, it's been a little bit uncomfortable over the last couple of days, but it's getting less and less. There is a lot less now than there was even 2 months ago for it to actually do that will affect the humans on the planet. So that's a positive thing. As far as the deep state is concerned, they're more concerned with saving themselves than causing us more harm. I don't believe they're going to create another disaster at this moment. It doesn't looks like, cooler heads or saner heads are prevailing in this meeting right now. But they are looking for something else. What that something else is, I don't know. As of this moment, because we'll see. The meeting's not over and everybody's still talking, and we're always on guard anyway. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot else that I can actually release in the report right now. Hopefully we'll have a quiet weekend. Hopefully these fires will start to recede and not continue to grow. Hopefully families in California, if you are in California, and there are people that are in need of help, if you have the ability to do so, I hope that you, just like you always do as the people, we take care of each other. No one's going to come in and save us at this point. Definitely not these people. They just like to blow something else up and see if money falls out of the sky. So on that note, that's pretty much the GIA report for Friday, the 10th of January. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday, and hopefully I'll have some more information.